Hey, Pearson.
Hey, Calvin.
Pearson, did you know that WNURsports.com does more than just article writing?
It does? Please tell me more.
WNURsports.com also has a radio station.
Man, it's almost like people are listening to it right now.
That's right. And on Sundays from 7 to 9 p.m., you can tune in to WNUR Sports to hear our station members give you three electrifying shows right here on the Sports Block.
Only on 89.3.
Welcome to another episode here of On the Clock with your host, me, Charlie Jacobs, and this time, no one, just me. So 30 minutes of Charlie talking about some NBA draft here. But before I start that, I just want to talk about the Knicks real quick. Big game tonight. Let's go Knicks. And really, last week focused on talking about a lot of the top prospects in the NBA draft and reactions to the lottery. Also talking about possible trades like Giannis Antetokounmpo. We didn't mention Kevin Durant, whose name could also come up for sure in these trades, especially when you look at teams a little bit later into that first round, like the Pistons, or Devin Booker's name could get thrown around. There's a lot of obviously possibilities. Before I get into talking about this upcoming class, which looks outstanding, especially the top talent, like obviously was discussed before, I just want to talk quickly about the 2020 NBA draft, which is one of the weirdest, looking back, one of the weirdest NBA drafts maybe in history. I mean, Anthony Edwards goes 1, James Wiseman goes 2 to the Warriors, and the Warriors said they would have taken Wiseman at 1 if they had the number 1 pick, which is insane. But the big thing I want to say is, so Eastern Conference Finals, it's Pacers next. Pacers up 2-0 right now. Game is just started 2 minutes ago. Probably not actually, because these games always start about 10 minutes late. Anyways, the top 15 picks in the 2020 draft, 3 of them are big minute players for the Pacers on this Eastern Conference Finals team. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton at pick 12 got traded from the Kings over to the Pacers, and he is their star. He is awesome, but as a Knicks fan, don't really like him. Anyways, you got him at 12. At 14, Aaron Nesmith. And then 8, Knicks picked him, Obi Toppin. So the Pacers have 3 guys from that draft class in the top 15, all playing significant minutes for them in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're looking to take a 3-0 lead. The Knicks are looking to go on the road and take one in Indy after going down 2-0 at the Garden. But anyways, just wanted to start off with that because I feel like that is very noteworthy right now because this draft especially was just very strange. It was the COVID year. There were people who didn't really play that much in college. Um, I mean, LaMelo, like Killian Hayes was the 7th overall pick, if that says anything, and he's not very good. Anyways, now that was just a quick little thing, and moving on to the NBA draft upcoming this year in June. So obviously it'll be after the finals. Lottery's out. Quickly, the draft order. It goes Dallas, San Antonio, Philadelphia, Charlotte, Utah, Washington, New Orleans, Brooklyn, Toronto, Houston via Phoenix, Portland, Chicago, Atlanta via Sacramento, San Antonio via Atlanta, and that's the lottery. Then Oklahoma City is 15, Orlando, Minnesota via Detroit, Washington via Memphis, Brooklyn via Milwaukee, Miami via Golden State to round out the top 20. And this draft class, a lot of times in these drafts, the combine, sometimes it'll help some player stocks. This year, I think it maybe was a bigger stock booster than it has been in past years. You look at guys like VJ Edgecombe, who we talked about last week when Matt and Tomas were on. But Edgecombe who was slated to be either that number 3 or 4 pick, more likely 4, saw his stock skyrocket. Now there's chances he goes 3 because of how good he looked at the combine. He put on a show, and usually that the NBA draft combine, doesn't get the same amount of light shown on it as compared to the NFL draft. Also, Trey Johnson, another one who really shot up, might be the best pure shooter in this class other than Concaniple. It's probably between those 2 guys. Kaman Maluech from Duke, also really great at the combine. Other guys, actually, their stocks may have fallen, but I mean, there's a weird one who I'm going to talk about a little bit later is Colin Murray Boyles, South Carolina. He was a brick from the 3-point drills, but still awesome defender. Anyways, jumping right into it. So Cooper Flag we talked about. Dylan Harper we talked about. Ace Bailey we talked about. We did talk about VJ Edgecombe. We talked a little bit about Knepel, Maluach, but yeah, let's start. I'm gonna start talking with Tom Knepel. He was awesome in the March Madness tournament. I mean, he was one of the best shooters. He really was a great compliment to Cooper Flagg on that Duke team. They did fall short, obviously, to Houston after Flagg missed that shot, but still, he's just he's he's a great guy popping off of screens, and he shoots it. Defenders need to really get up on him. That's a big thing. So he will be able to space the floor in a way that, I mean, defenders are going to need to track him. It's like Klay Thompson, basically. I'm not saying Tom Knepel is Klay Thompson, but really, it's not the craziest thing to say. Maybe more of like a better shooting version of a Gordon Hayward, or when Evan Fournier had that one year where he was unstoppable, or like Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard when he's not in the normal Luke Kennard, so to say. But 6'7", shot over 40% from three, averaged almost 14 and a half points per game at Duke last season. And he's about to be 20 years old, which is just exactly what you want out of a guy who's probably, he might go 5, might go 6, might go 7. His teammate, actually, though, Kamal Maluach, the South Sudanese 7-footer, is not even 19 years old yet. This guy is massive, and honestly, if Duke had won the national championship, he might have gotten the MVP for the Final Four because he was that impactful, especially on the defensive end. And also, he's such a lob threat. He's just an athlete, and he is such. A word just comes to mind is gravity. He draws defenders into him. Think Zach Edey at Purdue when there would be 3 or 4 guys trying to jump to swat him. That is basically Maluach. I mean, it's obviously different. Zach Edey was a senior, and Zach Edey was the best player in college basketball, arguably. But still, it's just this guy right now. It feels like he's probably going to be a Washington Wizard because they're probably going to take center, and I don't think they're going to take Derek Queen. Sorry, Matt Campbell, if you're listening. But, I mean, Maluach is just, he's a lob threat, and he's just, the upside is insane. Next up, Trey Johnson. Insane catch and shoot threat. Think guys like Michael Redd, even maybe like a smaller Brandon Roy, just guys who could just catch and shoot, guys who you want on your team, and shot just under 40% from 3, averaged 20 points per game for Texas, and he's not just catch and shoot guy. He can create his own shots, and that's exactly what you want. He produced like crazy in the SEC tournament for a freshman. You don't see that a lot, especially with how the SEC was this season. And he's also just under 6'5". He's a big guy, almost a 7-foot wingspan, and just he's a bucket getter. That's really, I don't think there's any other way to put it. This guy knows how to score, and he's a high release point, especially for being 6'5", 6'6". He's great off those pull-ups, as I said, and also just a great catch and shoot threat, and really gonna be one of those. Well, there's a good chance he'll be one of the better 3-point shooters if you look back on him in 3 years for the NBA. Next up, someone who's really shot up boards lately is Carter Bryant out of Arizona. Another freshman yet again. It's amazing how this class is, excuse me, all freshmen at the top. And it's not like, it's crazy because, well, this is where I think the drop-off happens after those top, like, 6, 7 guys. Maybe Jeremiah Fears you could include there. I'll get to him a little bit later. But Carter Bryant is just, he's great floor spacer, extremely athletic, an outstanding shot blocker, has a 7-foot wingspan, and on the court is about 6'8" with shoes. And I mean, the stats don't say that he should be a first rounder, but the raw talent does for sure. They had a very low usage rate at Arizona, but also Caleb Love running the offense there. And he's just a playmaker on defense. like a typical 3-and-D wing. Think Boston, think New York, think Oklahoma City, think Minnesota. I mean, this guy is what you want to be on the wing. Like, it's basically like a kind of like a pseudo Aaron Gordon type player. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say he's more similar to OG Anunoby because obviously as a Knicks fan, that's who I'm going to be thinking about when I think of big 3-and-D wings. But I mean, his baseline skill set, his floor is really high, and I think a lot of people are he might go higher than I think people may expect. Uh, Next up, let's talk about Derek Queen. So last week, Matt Campbell said he thinks Derek Queen is the best center in the class. I don't even think Derek Queen is going to end up playing center. Queen, as good as he was at Maryland, there were definitely some stretches earlier in the season, mainly even that game against Northwestern, where I mean he couldn't really score that well. And yes, he's a good scorer, but he's about 6'10". He's not seven. He's not a 7-footer. He's more like that Domantas Sabonis. He reminds me of Zach Randolph a little bit because he is definitely a bit bigger. He's almost 250 and about, as I said, 6'10". Um, it's hard to say because some people are very bullish on him, some people aren't. But I don't think he's a center. You need to have him as a power forward. Great playmaker, great interior scorer, and great finisher. Obviously, against Colorado State, had that game-winning buzzer beater off the backboard where may or may not have been a travel. I still don't think it was. But he's a strictly inside the arc player, not a shooter at all, but still can get the job done. And depending, right coaching, right situation, could be a very good power forward or maybe a small ball center. Next up, someone who was destroying Northwestern earlier this season, Kasparas Yakinchonis. Yet again, another freshman. Feel like I sound like a broken record here, just saying freshman, freshman, freshman. But Yakinchonis is great. His shooting he's a streaky shooter, but he's just a good ball player. Think Bogdan Bogdanovic on the Clippers now. He knows he's good. He's good at getting to spots. He's good with the ball in his hands. He's good without the ball in his hands. He's a great playmaker, great passer. Average six over 6 assists per game to just about 2.5 turnovers, and just the floor general you want. Great at running the offense. Someone who you could trust to learn the plays like the back of his hand, and will definitely be able to be that guy who could be a point guard, or really what I see him as is an elite sixth man. I think that could be amazing for him. Um, he could be better at finishing at the basket, but still be very nitpicky to say the least. Next up, first non-freshman. Right now, I'm going down the ringers big board, just going through some of the players. Danny Wolf. Uh, I don't even know what to call him. A point guard, power forward, center. I mean, this guy in shoes is 6'11", 7 feet tall. Has almost like a 7'3" wingspan practically, and is an outstanding passer at his size. I'm not going to say Nikola Jokic. Obviously, you can't. Think more like what's his name? Like a Maxi Kleber type player, but with more of a playmaking background. He's a good finisher. He's good at getting to the hoop, good at getting close to the basket, and really for his size, especially, great ball handling, outstanding ball handling. And as I said before, point guard, power forward, center. This guy could play basically all positions on the floor, and that is very impressive. And it really speaks to what the NBA is becoming. A lot of these positionless players, think Nikola Jokic, think Victor Wembanyama, think, I mean, think Karl Anthony Towns, who the cat can't really play defense as a center. But think Giannis, think just all these bigger guys, these bigger wings, or these guys who would normally be centers or big power forwards who are able to bring the ball up consistently. Kevin Durant, I can keep going on and on just naming these guys, but that's what Wolf could be. And really, if he could be a second second unit point guard. I mean, he's He's 21 years old, so obviously a little bit older, and probably won't go in that top 10. Maybe he'll be a lottery pick if he is, probably towards the end of the lottery, but
Yeah, that
still
sounded like it
just
went in a little
a
smoother.
guy who could slot into any
Okay, that should
position
be good.
and
So
could
you want
really
to go to
play
one of them and we can test the levels.
and could do whatever you need
Just like
from
I
him
meant like
on the
split screen.
basketball team.
right.
Really can slot into all those roles.
And then scroll up on audio mixer.
Next up, let's talk about Nick Clifford,
Wait,
Colorado State. Another
What are they
junior,
called? Oh, they're called
back-to-back
wireless
juniors.
mics. Yeah.
This guy,
Oh, yeah. Wait, this might have been the glitch where we
great
don't see the levels.
off-ball,
I guess
off-ball
if you
guy.
like,
Just
you can go to
very
the
again,
audio
like
mixer
Danny
settings
Wolf,
down there.
although shorter, standing only about 6'5",
And then go to
Very
click
versatile
on wireless mics.
positions. He
and
could
then
even play small ball
click
center.
on monitor and
I
output.
think like when Draymond Green was playing at center.
Test.
But really
Test.
more like actually Josh
Test.
Hart. That's who this guy kind of reminds me of, especially
Didn't
as a
we do
Knicks
this
fan.
before and it didn't work?
Josh Hart
Test.
is, I mean, Josh Hart's not.
Yeah, well, we
didn't
did it.
start
But
today,
the audio
still,
monitoring thing would work.
Hart. There were times when Hart was basically running the 5 for the Knicks over the past couple seasons. For maybe it was just a couple minutes, but still, Nick Clifford, despite his size, and yes, he is a little bit older. He's getting close to that 24-year-old mark. Still, transferred to a smaller school from the Power 5. Just a guy you want on your team. Great shooter, pull up threat, great off the dribble, and yeah, think Josh Hart. What do you think of Nick Clifford? Next up, Igor Demin, BYU freshman, out of the Russian playmaker. Just what a passer! Similar to Yakin is just an amazing passer and just awesome at running the floor. This guy is almost 6'9", 6'10", just ginormous specimen, just really tall, thin, lanky. I think Giannis coming out into the NBA draft, kind of that size. But this guy he knows ball. He knows how to play basketball. And also another thing that kind of goes unnoticed is just his off-ball defense, really. When he is defending players off the ball, as obviously what it says, just outstanding. Think Denny Avdia, think Josh Giddey could really develop into an outstanding, not a great three-point shooter whatsoever. Shot only 18.5% from 3, but still averaged 16 points and 7 rebounds and just under a block per game. So, yeah. Next up, Jace Richardson, Michigan State freshman, did not measure well at the combine. Measured only about 6 foot without shoes, and obviously looking at size, it's not the best in terms of size for point guards, especially when you got guys like Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all these point guards who are just as athletic as these point guards from the past, but they're 6'6", 6'7", 6'5", whatever it may be. Richardson is one of the best three-point shooters in this class, shot over 40% from deep. Also just great with the ball in his hands. Amazing ball skills. Also awesome when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. He knows how to get around the court. Obviously, his dad, Jason Richardson, good guy to have in your back pocket, in your corner, so to say. But I mean, he didn't get the dunk contest Jason Richardson genes, but he spent his life playing basketball, and this guy just knows the ins and outs of the game. Think like maybe Darius Garland could be a good comparison. Let's go with that. Jeremiah Fears, who I mentioned a little bit before, another freshman, this guy out of Oklahoma, not to be confused with Jeremy Fears Jr. from Michigan State. Similar names, but yeah, Fears, while not the best three-point shooter, just the upside this guy has is through the roof. Amazing, similar to Richardson, amazing ball skills, great ball handler, crazy athlete. I mean, standing at just about 6'3", this guy is just explosive as all else. I mean, it's what you want. He's fun. He's a very fun to watch as a high flyer, great playmaker as well. And one downside, he does turn the ball over a lot, but also playing as a freshman in the SEC, leading your team is pretty impressive. Think like a Scoot Henderson, maybe Jaden Ivey, but we will see with Fears. Fears is, although on this big board they have him at 15, will probably go in the top 10 because of that upside. Next up, someone who's really shot up boards late, and I do really love this player, is Cedric Howard out of Washington State. Only played 6 games but the upside, only played 6 games this past season, the senior, but the upside is insane. He has the frame you want for an NBA player, one of those 3-and-D wings, great catch and shoot threat, just freak athlete, great off ball defense, and again, just upside, upside, upside. I feel like I've said that word maybe 100 times today, but 40% from three, obviously very small sample size. Averaged about 17 and a half points, 7 rebounds, and just under 4 assists. Before that he played at Eastern Washington. His shooting in general was just his shooting in D3 and in D1 is just through the roof, outstanding. Um, really shot up draft boards. Combine definitely did help, but really will be possibly people will be looking back and say this guy was one of the steals of the draft because of that upside, how ridiculous it is, but also really hit or miss player possibly. Next up, I mentioned him earlier, Colin Murray Boyles. He did not look good in the 3-point part of the combine, but other than that, I mean, this guy is just a defensive monster. He is short for, I mean, it's harder to pitch it because he really plays more of like a power forward center. Stan H is just about 6'7" though, which could be a problem. I mean, for South Carolina, he was there, kind of do it all guy, 17 points a game, 8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, almost a block and a half. Um, this guy is he's a post player. At his size, being this post player, maybe not the best translation into the NBA. That obviously will be seen, but really could depend on the landing spot. Looking at just the draft order, this could be a great guy for someone like in Orlando to get at 16, or San Antonio at 14, or Portland at 11, Houston at 10, even Toronto at 9. Just really put him in, play, maybe see what he could do, see what this guy could do as that kind of small ball center or small ball power forward that is more post dominant than the typical for his size. Moving on from Murray Boyles, Noah Penda, the first player from really overseas. Just a big body defender. This guy, again, like some of the others in this draft, a lot of positional versatility. He led the league in stocks in the French league with a lot of former